All right, welcome back, everybody. New alcohol laws could make tavern owners liable for drunken behaviour. The beer manufacturer, distributor and owner of the tavern all bear responsibility for any harm and damage caused by a drunk driver. This was included in the National Liquor Policy proposal that was put forward. The South African alcohol beverage manufacturers, distributors and some retail chains are represented by the Association for Responsible Alcohol Use. And we are joined by the chairperson of this organisation, Michael Mabasa, in our Cape Town studios. Good to have you, Michael. Thank you very much for being our guest here on the programme.
Thank you very much for having me, Leanne.
All right. So now the public have had time to submit their comments on this new proposed law regarding the misuse of alcohol. Do you see this reducing the figures when it comes to drunk driving incidents?
Well, look, I think as the Industry Association, we obviously welcome measures that government is putting in place in order for us to be able to reduce particularly the misuse of alcohol in our country, because we do recognize the fact that there is a very big challenge in relation to alcohol abuse. However, there are obviously measures that we definitely need to look at very carefully, because we do not think that regulation and legislation should necessarily be used as a blunt instrument to address, in particular, societal issues, because I mean alcohol is definitely a societal issue, and we need to be able to be very pragmatic in terms of the measures that we put in place in order for us to be able to address the alcohol abuse issue very much head on.
Let's just break it down a little bit, because I think as much as we've tried to understand some of the new proposals, perhaps some of the viewers are not really aware of them. We know that one of the proposals is that a tavern or a bar could be held liable if they serve a customer who is already seen as drunk. They must refuse to serve this individual. Is this your understanding as well? Also, curbing the times that alcohol can be served at some taverns. Talk to us a little bit more about what some of the proposals are.
Well, certainly, I mean, from a government perspective, government is definitely proposing, as you put it, to curb alcoholism, particularly in different outlets and so on. And we agree insofar as the sale of alcohol should not be encouraged, particularly into illegal outlets, because the challenge that we have in South Africa is that we've got quite a number of outlets which have been mushrooming over the past 5 to 10 years. And that has been a very big challenge for us, because most of those outlets do not necessarily have licenses to operate. And when I say licenses, obviously I'm talking about specifically liquor licenses.
Yeah.
So we agree with government that we should not sell, our members should not sell alcohol into those particular licenses. We should in fact encourage those outlets to be officialized first and get their licenses before we can be able to make alcohol available into those particular outlets.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that I suppose should be the basis for all of it. Another proposal is to stop the sale of alcohol on a Sunday. Would the distributors be in favour of something like this? Is that something that they are against, or again, are you for this? Well,
look, I think we need to have, like I indicated earlier on, very balanced legislation that will obviously help us not to limit or to have unintended consequences, particularly in other areas of our economy. If you look at, for an example, the tourism industry, which depends very much so on the hospitality industry as well. If we ban alcohol advertising, the sale of alcohol on Sundays, and so on, it will obviously have impact on other mainstream sectors of our economy. So we need to be able to have a balanced approach. And from an industry association, we are not necessarily in favor of banning alcohol sale, particularly on Sunday. We believe very strongly that the key thing that we need to be able to do is to push very strongly the responsible drinking and the responsible trading aspect into all our outlets, whether they are on trade or they are off trade.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about those responsible trading that you stipulate. I mean, we see that alcohol abuse is a major concern here in South Africa, and we see so many people losing their lives, being victims to abuse, underage drinking. We see a lot of abuse happening in our country. But as your organization, who represents the manufacturers, the distributors, how do you propose we try and make drinking responsible? What do you do as an organization?
Well, let's take one step back, Leanne. I think in the last 18 months, the industry association has been working tirelessly to get the industry better organized. And I think we'll be the first to admit that our members have not been working together on these important issues in the past. But we've made fantastic progress in the last 18 months because the industry and all our members are now aligned very much around the responsible drinking agenda. Whether you're talking about SAB, you're talking about Brand House, Distel, Pernod Ricard, and all our retailers in South Africa, for the first time, all of them have come together to say that they are taking responsibility for the responsible drinking agenda in South Africa. And they want to work together because you recall, these are competitors in the trade, and they compete obviously for market share and to push their products. But if there's one thing that they agree on very, very strongly, is definitely around the responsible drinking agenda. And for the first time, we have seen that the industry has now organized itself in order for us to be able to make sure that we work together in making sure that the responsible agenda is front in our thinking. Now, these companies that I've mentioned earlier on, all of them have respective programs that they are doing in their own individual right. So as the association, we've said, look, you're doing good work, but nobody seems to be seeing that particular work. So we need to be able to bring all those programs under one roof so that we can be able to make sure that the impact of those particular programs and the scale is enlarged so that we can be able to reach everyone in South Africa about our messages on responsible drinking and the campaigns that we really want to push so that South Africa can really benefit from these particular messages around responsible drinking.
All right, Michael Mabasa, thank you very, very much for talking to us here on the program. Michael Mabasa is a Corporate Relations Director at Brand House, but he's also talking in his capacity as the Association for Responsible Alcohol Use, and he's a spokesperson for that organization. So thanks again for Michael to take the time to be with us here on the program. Thank